Hey, book club besties.
From Scrubs to Book Club, we're two burnt-out healthcare workers who love to yap about books. I'm Katie.
And I'm Star, and welcome to Aimless Attention Podcast.
April is Dark Romance Month, which means we are coming back to you with the Cat Mouse Duet by H.D. Carlton. This is Haunting and Hunting Adeline. Out of all of the books we're covering this month, I would say this is the one, like, really check your trigger warnings. I think a lot of the books that we cover, that we have kind of set up for the schedule, tend to be more dark rom-com-y type things, other than like the Dark Forces realm that we're also diving into. Those are still lighter than this.
Yes.
Like, even the Dark Military is not as dark as this is, and I would say this is kind of our true, like, dark romance, like, baseline of, like, what a dark romance definition is.
Yes, I agree.
So we decided to cover these together because I think they're hard to talk about by themselves, because Zaid and Addie's through line is so important through both books that really their whole development as a couple is important between the two. I want to say, too, that H.D. Carlton did come out and say that she has another duet planned for these two. It's not like a continuation of the story, but a new set of the story. So we'll have to see. If
I am kind of excited. The only thing that I would be sad about, though, is I would be really sad if there was like, let's have kids, honey. I'd be like, oh, that sucks.
I think, well, it might be kind of like that, but I feel like they also get in such horrible situations that I don't know that's necessarily what I want for them either. But I also don't know for after reading like this story with them, is that this? I mean, I want them to have kids and settle down, but is that 2 books worth of like an exciting dark romance of like them settling down and having kids? I don't know. So let's start off Haunting Adeline. So we get to meet Adeline Riley, who is an author. She has her pretty cinnamon hair, and she always talks about how much she loves her body. She's very secure in herself, which I actually really like about her character.
It's really funny is when I was reading this, I was like, it's Katie. I was like, I mean, other than the pictures of her naked body on her phone, I was like, it's Katie.
Just because I wrote a book?
No, because you're like a cute little author with, well, your hair used to be lighter. And then, I don't know, it was just funny because I thought about it, and then I was just like, I don't know. Plus, I don't know. If I had a nice body, I'd probably take pictures of myself too.
Right? If I had more confidence, I guess I would. Like,
I have pretty good confidence. That's not the problem. Just I've aged improperly.
But we meet Adeline, and she's at a book signing, and we kind of realize that she really doesn't enjoy this. Like, also, this is kind of why I am a little bit like Adeline, is that, like, I would love to do something like that. Like, if I was a published author, it'd be so cool to, like, sign your books and meet the people who are reading it. I would also be absolutely terrified and so anxious the entire time because I'm terrible at, like, small talk and interacting with people I don't know. Like, 90% of the time, I just rely on my husband to lead the way, and I can just, like, enter little snippets of things, but I don't do well, like, just being like, hi, I'm Katie, let's talk.
She's not lying.
So
I was literally like, hey, we're friends.
Basically, if Star hadn't been like, we're friends now, I would have been like, I don't know who Star is. But so she's signing her books and everything. And then we get the other side, the other POV of it, which is Zaid Meadows, who is walking down the street, and he sees her author picture in the window, and he's like, that bitch is mine.
When I read that, I was like, I don't know why, but everything in me was like, thanks for being possessive, but also that's creepy. Like,
so creepy.
Like, every woman wants a little possession like that, but then it's like, no. Sounds really cool in books. Don't ever do that.
So Zaid Meadows is what? He's like 6'4", or whatever. He's 6'4", just massive dude, heavily built. He has one black eye and one blue, like light blue eye.
It's so sexy.
I think Adeline calls him his yin-yang eyes multiple times throughout these books. Zaid was not my favorite character out of all these book boyfriends, I have to say. Zaid doesn't make sense to me on a baseline level in Haunting Adeline. I want to make it clear for Haunting Adeline is when I don't like Zaid, because by the time we're in Hunting Adeline, I actually like Zaid. I think...
I didn't dislike him, but we all know I'm broken.
Listen, we've talked about this before, Star, where there is this... I've said before that you have the Teddy Hamilton effect issue when you listen to audiobooks because he's your favorite narrator.
Oh my God. But he goes like, hey, I don't know. He's like that growly. I've told you before, if I just bagged him, it'd be okay. Just put a bag over his head and then be like, speak. Or honestly, we could just turn the lights out and I could be like, just talk to me. Just talk to me dirty.
But I have been harassing you about the Teddy Hamilton effect, and I want to say I hadn't audiobooked this until the reread before this podcast, and I got Teddy Hamilton. I got fucking Teddy Hamilton because I was like,
oh, it's just so good though. It's like the deep gravelly, I don't know.
Goddamn, I was so like,
that man gets laid just because of his voice.
But I got Teddy Hamilton because I was like, do I like Zayd?
Yeah,
what the fuck
yeah,
happened?
Like
so I guess the background on Zayd is that he goes by Z. He runs the organization Z, who is set up to take down these trafficking rings and like child predators, all that kind of stuff. So he is dealing in the background, especially trying to take down those who are in power in the government, that kind of thing. So on the surface level, Zayd has a really solid mission on being a good person to do good things. What doesn't make sense to me in Haunting Adeline, and Stars heard me talk about this so many times, she's just laughing because she knows what I'm going to say, was he sees this picture of Adeline and it's like, fuck yeah, that's mine, and immediately starts stalking her.
Okay, yes, but what I loved about his stalking was that he needed to make sure that she could handle his creepy.
Yes, but
I'm not agreeing with it. I'm just saying I appreciated his thought process was, can she handle my creepy?
We'll build up to the point where I go, what the fuck, Zayd? But beyond I've read plenty of stalker romances at this point where I'm just like, I can move past this. This is fine, right? But
not
like,
me.
but I hit a point where it's like Zayd hit a point where he was a little too much for me. So Zayd is like, that's mine. I'm gonna get this. So he starts stalking her, and we learn that Adeline lives in Parsons Manor, which is this like really old.
This house seems fucking amazing, though. I have to tell you, I really like every part of me was like, if this is a real house, I would want to tour it. Like, I would be like, let me like walk through the building. Like,
I picture like the outside of the haunted mansion, specifically at Disney World, not at Disneyland. And then I picture, because I don't picture like New Orleans, because it's in Seattle, basically. And I picture the Haunted Mansion from Disney World, and then I picture on the inside is like the Winchester Mystery House.
That's how I picture it too. It's funny. It's got like a little mix of the two.
Yeah. But it's basically like all red and black inside.
I picture that too.
There's no lighting in it. Basically, it's all like really low lit. Like,
but I think most houses that's like, they just didn't have like, and crazy lighting.
She's done a bunch of renovations to make it her own, but it's still like to make it creepier. Like, Adeline loves the creepy. She loves the scary.
Which is why I was like, I can see why you like Z. Like,
I get it on a reread a bit more, I have to say, and I think it might partially because I got Teddy Hamilton, but
it's probably 100% what happened.
But I get it. Like, but that is Adeline's character. She really likes it. And it is a graphic audio, which I wasn't expecting. I was not like, I don't really want to listen to this as a graphic audio. It was my first thought when it first started playing. I was like, why is there music? Oh, God, there's like footsteps and shit. I do not want to listen to, especially Hunting Adeline, as a graphic audio. Unfortunately for me, I ended up enjoying Hunting Adeline even more as a graphic audio. I was like, what's wrong with me? I think that's primarily like when I read this book, I'm like, what's wrong with me? Why do I?
I mean, obviously somebody wrote it. And isn't it like a pretty good best-selling author?
It's a really popular book. So
see, it wasn't just that we're broken.
No.
Plus, I don't know if I've told you this, but like my son is in high school and high school girls are reading it, and my son said he read like 4 pages and was like, Mom, I know you read this book.
I can't believe that there's teenagers reading this
I couldn't believe it either. I even told him, I was like, they should not be reading this. I was like, where are their parents?
I don't think I read, like when I was in high school, I maybe read the most explicit, like especially for like sex scenes and stuff. I was probably like, I read some upper YA, like the Marked series and stuff, but I wasn't reading adult fiction. And there's a key difference, especially when you get into dark romance, of adult fiction being different, not only in the sexual content, but the violence and everything, and just the explicit things that happen.
I have to be honest, I don't think when I was in high school this stuff was like really as popular as it is now, if it was even written as much as it is, because when I was in high school, like the best you got was like where the cover was like Fabio. So like you were just like, ew, why is Mom reading Fabio? I mean, obviously it wasn't him, but that's what it always looked like. He was always like, oh.
I think part of it too is that the internet has made it so that these books are popular and accessible in a way that weren't before.
Yeah.
Where these books, they're blowing up. Like Cat and Mouse blew up on TikTok. It was, H.T. Carlton's an indie author and has a bunch of books out. Like she's totally an awesome author, but also it helps to have those online communities that are boosting you, especially. So I saw this on TikTok. That's how most of my reads end up coming about, is on Book Talk or Bookstagram. Some area of the online community that is focused on books is where I usually get my recommendations for them. Sometimes I'll walk around the store and be like, oh, this looks cute, and I'll pick it up. And most of the time, it's not like the most popular book ever that I'm picking up when I'm doing that.
Yeah.
So
that's me. Katie has to tell me what to read.
I'm like, here you go, Star.
I'm like 12 years behind. I'm like, look, Katie. And she's like, that's 20 years old.
I'm like, the world's on fire, and the only thing I can do is to escape into books. So I'll read 10 a month. So anyways, she lives in Parsons Manor. We learned that she inherited it from her grandmother. And then her grandmother's mom was the one who got killed in her what was her name? Nana? Or whatever. Her Gigi. It was Gigi.
I was like, so I thought it was something.
Her Nana was her grandma, and then Gigi was Nana's mom. Gigi was murdered in Parsons Manor. So there's like, not only is it like an old thing, like an old house, it's also just like creepy on its own like that. But there was also a murder that happened of her family member. So she always talks about the ghosts that are there and how they're always kind of interacting with her, and she can hear them walking around and stuff. And there is the attic that she intentionally avoids because it's just extra creepy, right?
Yeah. I don't know why this had to be part of the book, though. I think I told you this like so many times. You could have cut this whole scene out and it would have been fine, or made its own story, like a what is it? Like a pre-book.
Yeah, like a prequel.
Yeah, thank you. I was like the pre. My brain was like that word. Yeah, it could have been a prequel.
Yeah,
it just didn't need to be in the story. It didn't make any sense for the story.
I think honestly, it was just to give her something to do with Daya. It almost feels like, because Daya would just like pop in and be like, hey, do you want to go fuck someone? Okay, bye. I work for Z. Bye. Like, it was just kind of like,
true.
And then she's like, do you want to go solve a murder? Like, I guess I don't understand. First of all, like, I get that she was like seeking answers for herself, and she felt really close to her Nana. So she maybe felt like her Nana didn't know about like who killed her. We find out by the end of this book that Nana did know, and
I feel like everybody knew. Like,
right? And even her mom knew. Like her mom, so she's like, well, why was I the only? So basically,
because you were the baby and you didn't need to know, like adult business.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I feel that way sometimes. Like my mom knows shit, and I'm like, how come I didn't know? And then I like, as an adult, I'm like, oh, because I was a child when it happened, and that wasn't any of my business.
Yeah,
like,
and I guess it's like these books are big. Like they're really
that's what I'm
long
saying.
books.
Like, why did it need all this extra like stupid sideline that didn't? Again. You did great. You wrote a book. It's fucking amazing. I'm sorry that I'm bashing you, but if we're going to be realistic, there was no need for it.
No, I don't think that the plot with Gigi's death was necessary at all. I don't think it added anything to it other than, again, giving us extra pages and something for her to do with her best friend.
Yeah, but you couldn't. Your best friend couldn't hang out with you. You guys couldn't fucking go have coffee. Like Zayd couldn't stalk you at the coffee shop. Mm-hmm. Like,
well, it was like it was only there to be like, hey, Daya does like hacking. It's like the only reason they threw it in there. And it's like, okay, but somebody, like, there was got to be other ways for them to interact with the police, because she's already calling the cops all the time on Zayd. So one of the first interactions we get with her and Daya, who is her best friend though, is they're at like lunch or dinner together or something like that, or they're drinking wine. I can't remember. They're out somewhere getting drinks or something. And then Daya takes her phone and texts, what is it, Grant or whatever, and says like, hey, come lick my pussy, and like all of this stuff to this guy that they've been just kind of like, she's been kind of hooking up with, but they're not together. And she's like, why would you text that? And then he shows up and she's just like, I don't really want to like be with this guy. He's not very interesting. At this point, she's already seen Zayd as like a shadow that's been kind of watching her
out there smoking the cigarette in the dark, and all you see is the red tip of the cigarette. That was pretty good description though, because I could literally picture like this person that's like a shadow of a body, and then this red tip. Just, I don't know. It was sexy to me. I had to be honest. Everything in me was like, ooh, like, chills.
Zayd.
Like, oh, don't come in.
And I can't remember if before she meets up with whatever his name is, because I can't remember his name right now. if he had been texting her or not.
Which one are we talking about?
The first guy.
The first guy?
Not the one that gets his hands chopped off. The first guy. Because Zayd's like...
Yeah, they were texting each other because isn't that why Daya texted him and then he came over and then he was like, why are you always such a tease or something?
I was saying Zayd. Had Zayd texted her yet?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so. So they
he doesn't text her until the next guy.
Yeah, so that's... he comes over and she's like, I'm really not into this guy. And she... And again, it's partly because Zayd's been like watching her and she's like, what is this guy? Like this shadow that's following
obviously
me.
you knew hot. You were like hot. You were like, ooh.
And she's terrified, but she's also like, why am I into this? And that's what Addie's into, right? She's into the
dark
scary,
and creepy shit.
Maybe
that's another reason why like the whole ghost thing was supposed to be because she's into the creepy.
Yeah, I get that it was like, I don't know. When she's with the guy, he gets all pissed because she's like, I don't really want to do this anymore because Zayd like bangs on the door or whatever, and like then they start leaving, and she's like, I'm not really into this anymore because like now we've been interrupted and I could have just gone with it, but now I'm not up for this. And he's like, you're such a tease, and he punches the wall. And he's like,
I have to be honest, I kind of appreciated the realistic of this. Like this is really like, not to say that like all men are violent, but you know, it would be hard to get like all hot and bothered. You think you're gonna do something, you literally sent it like an explicit text, I can't say that word, and then you're gonna sit there and act like I'm good.
Yeah.
Like I would, not that I would punch a wall, but I get like why the buildup was the way it was. I liked it.
I can understand him being a bit frustrated after receiving a text message like that.
I think I would have punched a wall, but I get it.
I'm not up for it. I get that. His behavior, he acted like a little kid when he did it, but he punches the wall. And the funny thing was too, so when they're making out initially, she's like, I don't want to be doing this. And she's like looking up and she sees a spider web. She's like, maybe I could put the spider on his back and it would get him off of me. And she's like literally reaching for the spider. And then that's when the knock happens. It's just like, Jesus Christ. Like, just just tell him to leave. Like, he punches the wall and then she's like, well, now I have to reach in this hole. So she reaches in the hole and that's when she finds the diary of Gigi's.
I know. I don't know. The whole thing just was stupid to me. And why would you need to reach into the hole?
I don't know. She's like, I just have to do it. She's like, oh, there's bug carcasses. And
I know. I just like everything in my brain was like, I would have just patched the hole.
Yeah.
Like I would have just gotten a piece of, well, actually, I'm so cheap. I would have just taken newspaper and shoved it in the hole and made and then I would have just plastered over it. Like I would never have done anything else.
Yeah. So that happens, and I think that might be when he starts texting her is like nobody else gets to touch you type thing.
No, he doesn't start texting her until she's with that other guy, and he starts. They go out into the sky room where like you get to see like the stars and shit, and he's like eating her out, and then he starts texting her.
Oh, okay.
And then it's like a whole thing. Like if he keeps touching you, he's gonna lose his fingers or something, something like that, or his hands or something, and then she just ignores him and he just keeps going at it.
So, okay. So I think he starts texting her while they're at the club because they meet him at the club.
Okay. Is that what it is? Because I knew they met at the club, but I thought he started texting her when she got into. No, you're right. It is at the club because he's watching her at the club, and he was like, nobody's allowed to. And then she takes him home anyways.
Yeah, she's like, whatever. I'm not letting.
She's so brave. I don't think I would have. I would have been like, somebody's messaging me, and I would. This is when I would have showed my friend. I'd been like, Daya, look, somebody's texting me. Can you trace this?
Yeah.
Like that would have been more realistic to me because that's 100% what I would do.
Especially because she's reported him to the police multiple times. She hasn't found out yet that the police reports are going missing, but they will. Like every single police report she files goes missing mysteriously.
Right.
So, but she doesn't know that. She's like, I'm reporting this guy. Nothing's happening. This is freaking weird. And so she's like, gets a text and she's like, I'm not letting him rule my life. So then she takes the guy home.
So brave. I'm like completely the opposite. I'm like, he's ruling my life. Like, and we're totally, it is what it is. Like,
she takes the guy home and she's like, I'm going to go in the sunroom and be bold. And so then they start like.
I have to be honest though. It did sound pretty sexy though. Especially like, have you ever been, well, you're not really a huge camper, but outside, oh my fucking God, it is amazing. I've had plenty of, but like, it's kind of cool. I mean, I've never been eaten out under the stars. Seems like a lot of extra effort, but I don't know. Plus, I don't know. If I did have a stalker, I think I would be. I'm a little cocky like this. I think that's why I liked her because I was like, but there's some things that I'm like, no, realistically, I might have done it if I knew he was outside, but I wouldn't have done it if I knew he was texting me. Like, I'd have been like, I'm out.
So Zayd, I don't remember how that. So they don't end up sleeping together. Zayd ends up interrupting them again, doesn't he?
Yes, he does interrupt them again.
Zayd
But no,
interrupts
but
them.
he does go down on her.
Okay, yeah, he does touch her. Yeah.
Yes.
So he goes down
And
on
then
her.
Zayd's like,
and
hell
Zayd's like,
no.
No. So then he runs out the front door and he's like, who the fuck's out here? And then by the time Addie gets there, he's just gone. And she's like, so then she calls it in.
Really my favorite part.
I know. She calls it in. And then I think Daya, like the next day, walks out on her porch. She's like, what is this? And picks up the package and it's just blood soaks her hands. And she's like, oh shit. And then they open it and it's the hands.
Okay, what I don't understand is how does Daya work for him and doesn't know it's him?
No.
Like literally everything in me was like, you work for this guy and you don't know this is your boss.
I guess they've never seen Z.
Yeah, but you don't know what Z does for a living? Like, I'm sorry. Like,
Well, yes, but also like what Zayd is doing is so oppositional to what Z stands for that it doesn't make sense that he would be putting women in such a horrifying situation.
yeah, I guess I get what you're saying. Because when he releases like the victims and stuff, he's like daddy figured.
Yeah, he's
Okay,
so
I get what
kind
you're
to
saying.
them,
I get what you're
and
saying.
he's really sweet. And then he sees Addie, he's like, I just want to break her. It doesn't make sense.
Okay. Guess I didn't think about it like that.
And then he punishes her for letting someone else touch her.
I mean, yes, daddy. Like everything in me is like, good job, Zadie.
There are a couple iconic sex scenes in this book that are really well known, specifically for haunting Adeline. The first one is when he chases her down and he fucks her with the gun.
Everybody knows this story.
Everyone
I don't
knows
think
this
I
one.
know a single person that doesn't know this one.
Even if you haven't read this book, most people know, oh, this is the one where he
Yeah.
stalks her and fucks her with the gun. That's like...
Because there's something like sexy and terrifying all at the same fucking time. I don't know what it is. The whole time I was reading it, I was like drooling. And then I was like, why do I like this? God, do I need to go to therapy? Like, I don't even know if my therapist can help the fact that I was like, like the whole time I was reading it, I was like, this is ridiculous.
I was nervous because I was getting Teddy Hamilton at the beginning of this book.
I told you. I told you. You don't even just turn the lights off, Teddy. Just turn the lights off. I just need you to talk. That's it. I don't need the rest of it.
Well, here's the other thing. So I'm re-listening to In the Likely Event was on sale. It's a Rebecca Yarros contemporary, was on sale for $6.99 on Audible, and I was like, hell yeah, buying that. Anytime anything's like $6 on Audible, and I'm like, have to purchase. So
I'm like the same way. I can't say anything.
So I purchased it and I've been listening to it, and it's Teddy Hamilton, and then I think it's Carly Bobbins or Babbins who did Sloane's voice. So I'm just listening to Sloane and Jasper again. Already two of my favorite characters and one of my favorite Rebecca Yarros contemporaries. And I'm getting Teddy Hamilton again because I love this book so much. And I told Star, I was like, I need to prep for this podcast because I've mentioned before we film in batches and it helps us because we were only able to film like every 2 weeks because we're super busy.
Yes.
But I was like, I want to prep a couple of these books to make sure I get the timelines right. And instead of doing that, I sat there listening to this fucking audiobook. I was like, I'd rather listen to this one right now. And then I stayed up till like 2 a.m. trying to get these things done. But anyways, that's a total side note. I was getting Teddy Hamilton going into this. So I was like, oh shit, here comes the sunroom. He chases her throughout, leads her to the sun, or ends up in the sunroom. And she kind of does it on purpose.
Oh yeah, she does. Come on.
Leads him in there. So she runs, he tackles her, and then he ends up having her, he holds the gun up to her and then tells her to suck on the gun.
Okay, this is the only part that I was like, ugh. It's not even that it's metal. It's just that I already knew where it was going before I ever knew about the scene. Like, because what else would you need to wet the gun for?
Yeah, and then he fucks her with the gun, and you are in Addie's POV, so you do get her saying, I don't know why I'm into this, but I'm so into this. Here's my problem. Zayd runs a organization that takes down traffickers, rapists, and sexual predators.
Which I appreciate.
So what does he do? He chases this girl down who he has no relationship with and rapes her with a gun.
But did he rape her?
He raped her.
We've had this conversation before.
She
liked it way too much.
Whether or not she liked it was not consensual.
This goes back to the, is it cheating? She liked it way too much.
Just because
it was consensual. She didn't say stop.
I think she did tell him to stop.
I'm pretty sure she said no when he put the gun in her mouth. And then he said, open your pretty little mouth or something. And then she did. And then I'm pretty sure it went from there.
Here's my thing, though. You have a loaded gun pointed at you. Is this the point where you're fighting off someone raping you, or are you just, like, accepting that this is happening to you at this point? You're like, which is worse, me getting raped or me getting shot?
I hate to say this, but this story didn't feel rapey the first time I read it. The second time on the reread, it felt rapey. And then I was like, what's wrong with me? The first time I remember walking up to you and being like, Katie, it's not rapey. Get over yourself. The second time I was like, this is rapey. Yeah. So I don't know. I have very mixed feelings, obviously. Obviously, my brain's like, ooh, hot daddy. Oh, and then the other part of me is like, oh, that's bad. Oh, that's bad. No, Katie said this was bad. You need to look at this with different eyes. I think that's why the second reread was like rapey.
You went in it with my eyes.
Because I came in with the whole like, okay, I can see where Katie's getting at. The other part of me is like, no, it wasn't rapey at all. It was totally hot, Katie. I was totally like just sitting at work going, Daniel's like, what is she doing? And I'm like, don't you worry, daddy.
I also shout out to Daniel because he's had to listen to us talk about these books so much that he's like, what the fuck you do?
Dude, I have to tell you that like part of me thinks he secretly likes it. Like he's like, girl talk, what are we doing?
What are we reading?
Daniel, when you watch this, don't slap me.
Daniel's like, so guys, what are we reading?
Well, I'm reading Daniel's right now, and his is pretty good. My son actually just finished it.
Oh, cool.
And I need to get my own butt onto it.
I need to read his novella.
That's the one I'm reading right now. It's pretty good. Yeah. I'm not like... Shout out to Daniel. It's pretty damn good. I've only got like a couple... I've only got like, I don't know, like quarter way through it or something. My son read it hella fast, and I was like, how do you do that? I was like, I don't understand. But he's like you, where he can like read it super fast, but it's not that I miss anything. It's just that like I can't picture it.
Yeah.
And my brain's like, what are we doing? Why are we reading this if we're not watching a movie? Like,
yeah. I would love to read how you do, because I literally just get flashes of images. Like I don't get the full picture, and I would love to have like a full reel.
No, I'm like watching a movie. It irritates me. That's why I have to like be in silence. I read slow because I'm like, oh my God. Right. But then if I'm reading fast, it's just like my son. It's just like I'm flipping pages and it's like, whatever. I got the words. Like I got the gist of it.
But it's also like I finish a book and I'm like, what was that about? Like I remember
sometimes on Audible I'm like that. I have to be honest.
I listened to it too fast on Audible. I finished a couple of the rereads on these books and I'm like, I don't remember anything about this book.
No, that problem.
Like, let me reread this again.
That problem.
So yes, the gun incident happens. I think she reports him again. And then nothing happens. Oh, she reported the hands, obviously. And the guy's like, have you been calling these in? Because, like, we don't have any reports. And she's like, what do you mean you have no reports? And then we find out later that he was the guy whose hands are missing. She's like, he's dead, isn't he? Like, he's not, his hands aren't the only thing that it's not working anymore. Like, everything's gone. We get a few torture scenes of Zaid being Z. But I don't think we get that torture scene, or we might.
Do not. We do not. But he does talk about taking him into his clean room, which I have to be honest. Like, we've done a couple books where they have clean rooms. Mm-hmm. How do you get away with that? Like, I know this is super off topic, but one of the other books we're going to discuss later, this crossed my mind. Like, you just have a fucking clean room, first of all. Second of all, what the fuck is a clean room? Okay? Like, I want to know, because I was sitting there thinking about it, and I was like, okay, like, first of all, like, you obviously have no children, because there's no way in hell you're getting away with not having with having a clean room with kids, because they're going to be like, fuck you, what is this locked door? And second of all, how does nobody know about your clean room? That was the other thing I wanted to fucking know. How does nobody know about it? Mm-hmm. I don't give a shit how rich you are. How does nobody know about it?
Exactly.
Like, people know about your storage unit that's 5 million blocks away from your house.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just really weirded me out. And he like drives into his clean room too, though. It's like a garage he drives into, like pulls the body out.
Yeah.
And then how do you pay people to fucking clean your shit and not fucking report you?
That's the other question is, like, for a lot of these books is, how do they get their little crew together? Like, how do they meet these people?
I don't know.
That they're like, okay, this is it's the same, I guess, for like mafias or like anything like that. How do they build these connections with people?
Mafia is a little different though, because it's like a family. So you start off with a family, and then you like, if you're the son, you get like a buddy, and you bring your buddy in, and then your buddy becomes part of the family, and then the idea is that you're gonna get murdered if you get out of the family. But the other ones, I'm like, I don't know how Zaid found his like fucking hack team that's like, hey,
because he sets up, because he has his whole organization that is like, he has the
and
hacking
where does he get
team.
all this fucking money? I didn't understand this.
The way he gets the money is I think he deposits it back into whatever, because I don't know how does it work? I can't remember. I think he takes their money basically.
That's what I was wondering. I didn't understand how it all worked, how the money worked, and how you pay these people like as much money as you do, and how do you have as much money as you do?
Yeah. I'm assuming I know it's explained somewhere.
I know. I think it was, but it was still like.
I also want to say too, going kind of back to Zayd, it's interesting. He actually doesn't. He's one of the only people that's kind of got this like dark history that doesn't have like a weird, sad backstory for a lot of these things. Like he had really amazing parents. They just died in a car crash at an early age. Like he was an only child. Like his life was actually pretty much fine going into this. Nothing like warped him. He didn't like have an abusive father that made him want to kill other abusive people or like something like that. He was just like, I just wanted to take down bad people. And I think that people.
I think that he really fucking had like a psychotic break that he wanted to kill people, and he was like, well, fuck it, I'll just kill the bad guys, and then I won't feel bad about myself.
Exactly.
But still, you raped a woman with a gun, per Katie.
Exactly.
Star's still not sure.
I think a lot of people agree with that.
Star's still not sure. Jury's out.
Jury's out.
Till I got Katie's point of view was the only time I questioned it. Before that, I definitely was all in. I was like, yeah, what?
Dude, Daniel's face when we were out, we're like, oh my God. So then he tackles her down and he's like, with the gun in your and he's sort of like, what are you talking about?
It can't be any worse than Lights Out where he's chasing her through the fucking woods, okay? There's all kinds of different reasons. He stalked her with a fucking mask on in the car, and nobody thought that was bad. I say a little gun action sounds fun, and I get told I'm the bad guy.
But in Lights Out, Josh had her consent before all of that. Even in the woods chase, the deal was I catch you, I fuck you. That was the deal beforehand.
I
so
know.
She consented
I'm just
to the
saying, we blur the lines here, buddy. We're blurring the lines. We're leading all these fucking dark romances, and we're like, the lines are getting a little blurry.
I think the lines are just all blurry in these dark romances.
Just a little.
But so that happens, and then. And I was going to say, Adeline has her family situation's a little bit different. She's again an only child. She's an only child. She was really close with her Nana, and then Nana was really close with Gigi. But she's not close with her mom. Her mom is very like, you need to get out of Parsons Manor. There's no reason you should be there. Like all this kind of stuff. And then her dad is like not super involved until like later he kind of comes back into the fray. In Hunting Adeline, we'll kind of get to see him some more. But most of her conversations with her mom just being like, I can't believe you're making the choices you're making, and I need you to leave that manor. It's so creepy. I don't know why you even like being there. And Adeline, other than the fact that she likes creepy things, really feels a tide in her Nana there.
Yeah, but her mom also knows the story about like her Gigi dying and stuff. Yeah. So I think there's like a part of her that's like, look, idiot, I know something you don't. Get the fuck, like, stop being an idiot.
Yeah, and we get the interspersed. Let's just talk about Gigi's story so we don't have to talk about it again.
Story.
So Gigi's story is that she has this shadow that starts, and it's basically just there's two different diaries that we'll get between the two books, and they're just foreshadowing that there was another person like her that came before her in both of these books. So the first one is going to be Gigi in this, where she gets a stalker as well. She falls in love with the stalker. She cheats on her husband with the stalker. They have an affair, and then eventually she dies. She gets murdered. We later find out that it was her. Well, I'm just knocking over books here. We eventually find out that it was her husband's best friend who had been in love with her forever that killed her, not the stalker. But the stalker was really who she felt like actually loved her for the first time in her life.
I still think the story was cute.
It wasn't necessary.
It wasn't necessary. It didn't need to be. It was just, it would have been cool as its own story.
I agree.
I've said that like numerous times. I would have liked this as its own story.
Yeah.
Like without Zayd and all the other things that happened, because it was just so much going on. And we haven't even gotten to like half of the book yet. We're like only still in the first portion. No. It was just so much going on.
And it was like Ronaldo's story, because he had like mob or mafia ties or something like that. So he would have been really interesting a character. I haven't looked at her other books. I know she has Where's Molly is a book that she has.
I really want to read that one though.
And there might be one called The Phantom or something like that. There's other books in it. So I will say I'm ignorant to the fact if she has written Gigi's story. I don't know if it's out there. So
I don't either. But I'm just saying, like, for only reading these two as a standalone, it should not have been in there. If it is like a prequel and like there's something we're missing, please let us know. But also, it's also one of those things where like as an author, you should have been more aware that people would not understand the story if it was a prequel.
I think it could have been in the book less, I guess. I don't think it needed. I think it could have been sprinkled in there that she found this information about her by reading her diary, but I don't know that I needed every random diary page and then her finding the watch and them testing the blood on the watch and Daya doing all of the hacking and checking into the police records.
Like I said, it could have been its own story. Like it didn't need to be.
I just think there was so much going on with Zaid was hunting down the senators and then Adeline getting involved in all that. Like there's so much already in this story that I felt like it was such a bulked up book that didn't need
I agree.
Like a bunch of it.
I agree. But now that you've spoken about the senators, I really want to talk about the weird clown circus thing. I don't remember what they called it. There's like a name for it. Oh my god.
Oh shoot, the Circus of Nightmares or something like that. That's not for a while though. So that Zaid starts meeting with Mark and a couple other senators.
I just thought we were gonna like jump forward.
Oh, we can jump forward, but I just wanted to introduce
rambling
this first.
on a lot.
I know. So let's talk about. So Zaid is infiltrating this group of senators. There's this thing called the Society that a lot of them are involved in, and there's these weird like rituals they have with children specifically, where they'll like kill them and then like drink their blood or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like they believe it's some like religious thing that they are thinking they're getting like some higher thing from, basically. And the Society is Zaid's number one thing he's trying to break into right now. So he starts befriending these senators. He ends up getting invited to like a dinner party where he like stages an FBI raid on them and stuff like that to get the kid out that ends up being brought into it. We get kind of all of this build up with them. Meanwhile, Adeline and Zaid are starting to interact more. He's texting her. He's in her closet. He's like chasing her down. And there's a second iconic scene that happens when they eventually are like actually together. And again, we're skipping around a lot of Haunting Adeline because I think Hunting Adeline has a lot more.
I do too. That's why I was like, I thought we were just going to kind of like briefly touch this one and then I realized we were just, gossiping like schoolgirls.
I know. So Zaid does find out that Adeline is a target for the Society. Mark actually is like, oh, we should bring it. He takes a picture of her while they're at lunch, like when they actually meet her, and texts it to somebody. And Zaid ends up like telling him to delete the picture and everything, but he's already sent it to the people because there's like a number on her head to bring her in because she's been chosen as one they want in this sex trafficking ring. I wanted to point out one more sex scene before we get into all of this because there's a lot of
so dark.
There's a lot of random sex scenes in this, but again, there's two that are really iconic, two Haunting Adeline that are like known on the internet. So the first one's the gun, and the second one is the car seatbelt situation where he puts her over the center console. And I think
like multiple people have tried to show how this one goes down.
The best evidence I've seen is from I can't remember how to pronounce his name properly, but PB Squammer or Squamer.
Yes,
he does a really good breakdown.
He does it. Like, isn't it in like his Prius?
It's in his Prius, and he shows you how it works. So if you want to figure out how that whole thing worked, it's kind of like the chair scene in Onyx Storm where everyone had to explain it, but that is how it worked.
I guess like my thought process on this though is like, as a guy, did you really just read this book and was like, hold on, honey, let me go to the car?
So to be fair, he is a guy who he posts about reading dark romances and he likes them. And he rides a motorcycle. So the first things that started happening were people were like, can you explain how this works on your motorcycle? So that he started showing like how the positions would work. And I think it just kind of evolved from there.
Yeah.
But he's a fantastic book talker if you want to follow him for anything. I think he and Stephen Walker have a podcast now too. So
do they really?
They have a podcast
I gotta
together.
I gotta look that up.
Both
of them are like my favorite. I follow both of them.
Yeah, they're fantastic. So if you want to check them out, they're great. So yeah, we get those scenes. Zaid and Adeline start kind of actually growing together, and Adeline is like, shit, I'm falling in love with this dude. Like, I can't believe I'm falling in love with my stalker. She and Daya both love haunted houses, and every year they go to this like Circus of Nightmares or whatever it's called. And there's like certain houses they know they're gonna go to every year. They show up. Zaid's obviously like following them around.
Yeah, and every year it's different. It's never the same.
Every year it's different, but I think they always have the House of Mirrors and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but I meant like it's different, like, so like every year is a different setup.
Yeah.
It's not the same, so that you don't get bored of the same thing over and over and over.
Exactly. It's kind of like Halloween Horror Nights at Universal. So They have all these creepy houses they go to. They're super excited about it. They end up getting in line for one of them, and Zaid's like walking around kind of, following Addie from a distance, and he sees this girl who looks like a broken doll who's just sitting there like eating a corn dog or whatever.
Love her.
And he's like, something's not right about that girl, but whatever. It kind of moves on. And then he sees waiting in line for the mirrors one that Mark is there. Not the mirrors. It's the creepy doll one that Mark has walked up to Addie, and he's talking to him. And Addie is smart enough to say, he's like, oh, where's Zaid? And Addie's smart enough to say, oh, he just went to the bathroom. He'll be right back. So thankfully, Zaid does end up catching up to them, but they'd shown up to that carnival thing with a van ready to kidnap both Daya and Addie to take them into the society. So that night it was going to happen if Zaid hadn't been there. And Zaid ends up going through the house, following them to make sure everything's fine. And then he runs into the girl who's dressed like a creepy doll. And she's like, the voices tell me, or like, what is it? It's not the voices, but it's like, I can smell that you're bad or whatever. And he's like, I'm not bad. Like, listen, I just want to get past you, you freaky lady. And this is Sibby.
Sibby is cute though, because she's like tiny. She looks like a child, but she's not.
No.
And she's cute, like, because she definitely has mental illness. We don't get any description of what it is, but she has her
henchman.
I kept wanting to say trench, and I was like, that's not the right word.
Trenchman.
I know, that's why I was like staring at you, like, come on, Katie, give me the word. Her henchman, and I just love that she has like protection, even though it's just her. Like, I love that her little brain is like, this is me, and these are my men.
These are my henchmen.
Don't know that are there,
and she's always like, shut up, fuck off, like, stop doing that.
I love it though. It's like she's literally my favorite character. I was like, Sibby. Oh my god, she could have her own book and I would read it. Yeah,
Sibby is amazing. So Sibby starts kind of being like, trying to like stop Zaid, being like, I can smell you're a bad person. He's like, can you please leave?
I mean, he is a bad person. So he's just trying to do good things.
But he manages to convince Sibby. He's like, those are the bad guys. Let's go kill them together. So then they kill Mark and the other senator, and or they kidnap them, and then they like are going to they end up torturing them for a while, and Sibby's like, I just want to kill him. And then he's like, okay, hang on, like, I need to talk to this one. And so then he's like, you can have that one. And she just starts like, stab. And he's watching her like,
love it.
Shit, chill out, Sibby.
No, but she's cute because she's like, I don't know, like what, 4'10"? Like, she's just like, I got you.
And she's just dressed as this broken doll. And she's like, bing, 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 bing. And so
I don't know. She's my favorite character.
Yeah, and
throughout both books.
Zaid's like ripping his nails off and like trying to get more information out of like why they would be after Addie and stuff. And that's when he finds out that Addie's been marked for the society and all this kind of stuff. And then I think he's like, okay, fine, you can kill him, Sibby, like whatever. They end up going to dispose of everything, and Sibby ends up taking the fall for it, and she ends up going to prison. And he goes in and follows Addie into the House of Mirrors. They have like a whole sex scene in there.
Because they're gross.
And then later on, I think they end up saying they love each other. But they actually were like sleeping together. Daya shows up, and Daya's like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. You're sleeping with him? Like, really? And she's like, yeah, he's hot.
But he is hot. Like,
he kind of opens up a bit to her. Same with her. Their relationship grows. Blah blah blah. This is a romance. And then we get to she gets taken to she's at her house, and he goes into this ritual that he's been invited into, and he has set up a bunch of his people to be in there as well to get everything. Everything goes wrong. He gets the kid out, but there's like an explosion, and the society set this up to catch Z. This whole thing was intended to catch Z. They've been trying to get to him this whole time.
Because they knew he was stalking them.
Yes. So he ends up getting captured, and what had happened was Adeline was at home at Parsons, and then she gets a call saying that something's wrong with Daya. And so then she leaves. She gets in her car, is racing to go help Daya, and then she gets hit head on by another car, and she ends up in a car crash.
Until I re-listened to it, I couldn't remember how she got kidnapped. I was like, how did she get kidnapped? And then when I re-listened to it, I was like, oh my God, idiot.
And
like,
that
was like the most obvious, like, duh.
Yeah.
And
it was his the buddies of the guy that had gotten killed by Zaid.
Yes.
And it was
they drug her to get her take her out of the car.
They do drug her. It's Rio, Rocco, and then somebody else.
I don't know, dude. The names are like
Rio is the one that ends up helping her.
No, I know,
I remember Rio,
but the names are like too close in my head that are like.
There's one other dude, and it was the dude that Daya was sleeping with that or had slept with at one point, and then he ended up capturing her and raping her. Zayd ends up saving Daya.
Capturing and raping Daya.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know what I said, but yes.
You just didn't put her name in there.
Oh,
you just said, and so
her,
then it was like
who
which her?
Yeah, so the guy that she had hooked up with after the club.
I don't know why I'm terrible with names. I don't care. You
either.
can tell me the name and I'm still like, that person.
I'm like, if you've read this book, hopefully you remember. And so that was the guy who kidnapped her and raped her, and Zayd is like, did you have to rape her? Like, that was your choice. You made all these choices, and he ends up killing him and everything like that, but he gets information out of him after. And I can't remember if this is the beginning of Hunting or the end of Haunting. It's the beginning of Hunting that we find that information out, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So Haunting Adeline ends with Zayd has the explosions happened. Zayd has been caught in this situation, and Adeline gets kidnapped and taken into the sex trafficking ring.
Before we go into Haunting Adeline has a few more sex scenes, but there's so much that happens that we're trying to jump through a bunch of it.
Yeah, I'm trying to stick to mainly plot. There is a lot of sex in these
Well, I'm
books.
just saying, like, depending on some people really like that.
Oh, yeah,
so,
no,
like,
that's why I was trying to be
up,
like
if you haven't read the books, well worth the read of the sex scenes.
Yeah, that's why I was like, okay, there's 2 that really stand out in Haunting, and there's 2 that really stand out for me in Hunting that happen with her. So we'll talk about those, and then I'm sorry if I missed your favorite sex scene, but you can read the book and or listen to Teddy Hamilton talk about it.
Listen to Teddy.
So let's go into Hunting Adeline. Hunting Adeline. Okay, so actually first let's rate Haunting Adeline. So Haunting Adeline, when I first read it, I gave it 3 stars.
Really?
Yes, I was like, it was my first like true dark romance.
It was
I'd
definitely
read.
my first in this world.
Yeah.
I've had some dark ones where I'm like, oh, this isn't too bad. But for what that people consider dark romance, this was definitely my first.
Yeah, my intro to dark romance was Hooked by Emily McIntyre, which is like a Peter Pan retelling. And then I read the Lights Out books. And so going into this was like way different of a vibe than either of those. So it was a rougher read for me. There were a few times where I was like, I don't know if I want to keep reading this book.
I was enjoying it, but could just be the Teddy Hamilton effect.
I got Teddy Hamilton into a 4-star after this, I have to say, on the audiobook. But Hunting Adeline was... I actually liked that book better than Haunting Adeline. It was a harder read, but I liked the characters better in it.
Hunting definitely fucked me up.
Hunting is rough.
Hunting definitely makes me go to like any rest stop with my knife in my hand just to go pee.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't already feel that way. Now I'm definitely doing. I even told my son, I'm like, unless you don't have to stop, keep going or pee on the side of the road. Like there's something in my brain like after reading this that I'm just like, the freaking interstate is definitely not somewhere you want to stop at.
Yeah,
not that
agree.
we don't already get told this all of the time,
yeah.
But it just made it way worse. Between California to Washington, it just really like enforced like the West Coast is not where you want to live if you need to pee.
No, I would agree. I want to reiterate again, especially for Hunting Adeline, please check the trigger warnings before continuing to listen to this podcast, because it is going to get fairly graphic with the stuff that Adeline deals with. So Adeline gets taken from the car crash. She's drugged and she wakes up in like makeshift hospital, essentially a hospital room. She has this doctor that is in the society's inner circle who is taking care of her, quote unquote, and healing her up. She's got stitches all over her back. She's beat to shit from this car crash. That's when we kind of see Rio and Rocco a little bit more. Rocco is especially bad. We'll learn more about Rocco as we go on, and Rio ends up being a person that she kind of finds solace in eventually, but it's going to take a bit to get there. The doctor ends up patching her up for a while. So Francesca later on will say that who is going to be like the madam, I guess. I don't know what to say about her.
She is the madam.
The madam. Okay, the madam of this house where they're training the women in this sex trafficking ring.
Yes, because I think that she's considered a madam because she's supposed to be training them the same way like a madam would train you in like if you were in like a prostitute house.
Yeah, that's kind of
what
I'm
I
thinking.
don't think that's not what's happening. They get sold, but
yes.
in most situations, that's how it would be considered.
Yeah. So Addie wakes up in this hospital room. She's kind of getting patched up. They basically just keep drugging her over and over again. She's like unsure what's going on. She's in a ton of pain because she was in this massive car crash. And then the doctor ends up saying like, I'll help you get out. Just come with me. And she's like, you're a fucking creep.
Something is wrong with him though. Like even I was like, don't do it, Addie.
Yeah. And either Rio or Rocco kills the doctor because she was fighting against him. And then she ends up getting taken to the house. And that's when she meets all the girls that are there. Sydney especially is going to be a problem for her. And she meets Francesca, who is like, I'm going to teach you how to service men. And you're going to listen to me. And there are punishments when you don't listen.
How do you get into this as a female? Like, how are you, like, I get it, but like as a female, like there's no sense in your brain that's like, this is inappropriate and these are human beings. I don't know. I guess I just like to think that women have better thought process.
I know. Well, but we will find out. This is a spoiler, I guess, for the end of the book. We've been talking spoilers the whole time. But Mark's wife, one of the person that he was dealing with in the society, whatever his name was, his wife, who seemed like she was just like this sad little girl who's just beat by her husband and everything, is actually the one who's running the sex trafficking ring in the society.
Didn't we read another book where this happens? Or did I not read that book with you?
Not with me.
It wasn't with you. This was, okay, never mind. That wasn't with you. I read another book where that happened. Like, everybody thought the wife was like the abuser or was being abused and she was the abuser. And it was like, but nothing in your brain would have put that, even in this story, nothing in your brain would have put that together. She definitely came across very like, oh, I don't know what my husband's doing. Oh. Mm-hmm. And I guess that's kind of like the idea, right? Like, you want to be like, the one that can be like, he's a creep.
Yeah. Oh. And she Claire's nuts. Like, we'll see Claire later on. But yeah, Claire's the one running everything. Adeline is a huge asset for her, and she's referred to as the diamond, which pisses off Sydney specifically, because when they start training and Adeline she speaks up a couple times because she sees another girl. She had a beauty mark.
Yes.
She had a beauty mark, and then she cut it off of her face. And then Adeline was like, oh my God. And then she was like, there are punishments for when you disobey. And then Adeline got raped in front of everybody.
With Katie's not going to
No, not with that.
No, this is when Rocco rapes her.
Rocco rapes her, who is Francesca's brother.
But he beats the shit out of her before he rapes her.
Yes.
And then Francesca's like, no, not her face.
Yeah.
And then that's when he rapes her.
Yep.
Because the whole fucking thing's just...
It's all disgusting.
I couldn't do this story for the second time. I couldn't reread this one.
I
don't know how you got through it. I literally put it on auto speed and was like, nope, I can't. It was like, I was like, and I don't know why, because I actually liked this one the first time we read it. Mm-hmm. I did not appreciate it the second time.
It's a really hard read. I liked it better the second time, and I think it's mainly just because I think I liked Zaid better in the first book with a reread, so then I liked him even more, because I liked Zaid, like I said, doesn't make sense to me because of how he acts in Haunting Adeline. When you get to Hunting, though, Zaid is doing everything he can to get Addie out, and when he does get Addie out, he's very, very careful with her and very mindful of all the trauma she went through. And so that's a different side of Zaid that I would expect him to be like with other people and with women in particular, knowing how many horrible things women have gone through, and that Addie has been involved with multiple men that were either abusers or, like, she hasn't been personally abused, but they had histories of that, and if she had continued interacting with them, would have been victims of them.
Yes.
So Zaid doesn't make sense in how he non-consensually interacts with Addie initially. I get what you're saying, yes. So when we get to Hunting Adeline, and Addie's going through all of the training, she's had multiple times where we find out that Francesca's been doing like kind of a side business where she's letting men pay to come sleep with the women, which was not a part of what was supposed to be happening in this house. They end up training for this thing called the culling.
Fucking, this literally is like triggering for me. Not that it ever happened to me. I don't know why this one bothers me, but like, man, this one like sat in my soul in a way that like I didn't know it could. This one's like one of those movies you watch that like you just can't shake it. That was this. Mm-hmm. I can't shake it.
It's another one of those things where there's no winning in this for the girls. So Sydney and her have been having issues back and forth where Sydney will make bad things happen because Sydney doesn't want to leave this house. All Sydney's known is a horrible life before and then this house. And this house has been as safe as her life has ever been.
Yes.
And she's like, if I get sold, anybody can do anything to me, right?
Yes.
If I'm in here, Francesca has to keep me in a, she's like, I can deal with being raped if it means that Francesca has to keep me protected to a certain extent. But if I'm let out, anyone can do anything to me at that point. Whoever buys me gets to do whatever they want, and there's no protection for me anymore. So that's kind of Sydney's thing. And with Addie showing up, now there's a need to get these girls out and to sell them because the diamond's here and she needs to be sold as well. The culling happens, and the what happens with the culling is there's a bunch of guys that come. They're manned with arrows, and the girls have to go out into the woods and try to, and there's traps set up too.
Yes.
The girls have to try to go out in the woods, and they have to not get hit with arrows. If they get hit with an arrow, there's a punishment. And if they don't get hit with an arrow, then they've passed, and then like the men can basically have at them. Is kind of how it works. So they do have a bunch of practice rounds where like Francesca will walk around in the woods and try to shoot them and stuff, and they have to try to navigate all of the traps and everything. There is a girl that ends up saving Addie while they're in the culling, and she ends up getting shot. And the girl actually kills somebody too during it. One of the guys.
Yeah, didn't she? Was it the girl or was it Sydney? Somebody tells her like that bad things happen if you lose.
I think it's Francesca.
No, somebody like
might
in
be
the.
Sydney.
I thought somebody in it told her because one of the girls at the very end when she gets taken to like a room and like she's like screaming.
Yeah. So what happens?
I just don't remember who said it. Is my problem.
I don't remember who said it. Was one
I
of the girls.
told you I couldn't re-listen to this
but
one.
Sydney has done multiple callings because she hasn't left. But
Which
I don't
is
think
savage to me.
I don't think Sydney would have warned her though.
I don't think so either.
But
I think the redhead that saved her did.
I think so too. So there's two girls that get shot during the culling. And they get taken into a room, they get tortured, they get beat, they get raped, and then
but it's like bad though. We're talking like, you know, flaying the skin, raped kind of situation, not just
it's gnarly. And then they get taken outside. There's a bonfire to like celebrate everything.
Don't they get killed?
Yes. So the all of the remaining girls are handed large rocks to kill the two girls.
I couldn't re-listen to this because this one I don't know why this bothered me so bad.
Yeah,
and this one like literally sat in my I remember this scene as if it was like
and Addie gets in trouble because she takes the girl that had saved her and holds her in her lap and takes a stick and jams it into her jugular to kill her faster. And she gets in trouble because that wasn't supposed to happen. They're supposed to die gruesome deaths like that, which that was gruesome enough, but they were supposed to die.
But I appreciate that she was
deaths.
like, let's give you a quick, swift one. I have to be honest, that's why it bothered me because I would be like, give me a quick death.
Yeah. We'll come back to the culling in a second, but I just want to point out that out of all of the book boyfriends that exist out there, one of the true I will burn the world down for you type people is definitely Zaid. Zaid is doing everything he can to find Addie. He's working with Daya. They're taking down multiple places they're setting fire to all of these places that are doing these auctions and stuff and killing these guys in them. Like he'll actually go in, he buys all the girls, saves them, and then he goes through each of the rooms, pours gasoline on all of them, and then or kerosene or whatever, and then sets everything on fire. He does go to the hospital. He finds the hospital that Addie was at, the like makeshift hospital office thing where that doctor had been, and he can see that Addie had fought back, and so that gives him some hope that she's still fighting. And so Zaid is actively crawling through all of the Pacific Northwest trying to find
I don't
Addie.
think I've ever loved anybody that much. Maybe my own child, but no other separate soul, which is probably why I'm still single. But as you're telling me this, I'm like, nope, I don't love anybody that much. I'd been like, all right, well, they're gone. They died. Sorry.
Oh my God.
Called the police.
I don't know that I
did
would
something for you.
I don't know that I would give up on somebody that quickly, but I definitely would like.
I don't think I have the wherewithal to be like, let me hunt you down.
I wouldn't be the one hunting them down. I'd be trying to use whatever. I don't know how to hunt like something
maybe
like
that's
that down.
what it is. I just don't know how to do it.
No,
so.
I would have to use like whatever authorities that are not helpful and do that.
I mean, I would call the police, but I mean, like we were talking about it the other day. My girlfriend and I, like, you never like those people like that are like, that like can deep dive the internet. Like my best friend's like that. She's like, I would not be that person. I would be like, I would call her and be like, hey, so I'd be like, what's her name? Daya? I'd be like, Daya.
Yeah, my sister's like that too.
Be like, deep dive this.
Daya did find out that Zayd is Z in the last book too.
Yes.
So she does know that Zayd is her boss now.
Yes.
And Daya's been helping him as much as he can. There's also Jay, who we get a little bit of too, that's been helping. And I think Jay has a little brother that's like 16 or something like that he's always worried about as well. Zayd is doing everything he can to track her down. He finds that he ends up meeting these brothers as well, I think, who are they sell organs, but they're like trying to
about them, but they're kind of neat because they don't sell they sell people that are already
they basically are trying to save people as well. But also they realize that somebody ends up having to do this, so it's better if they take the organ and then they help get them out.
Yeah.
So that they kind of work a little bit like Zayd, but also do some bad things. So you
got to make your money somewhere.
So Zayd ends up kind of talking to them.
I feel like every time we have one of these podcasts, I always feel like I'm like, I promise I'm not as bad as I sound. I sound so like, you got to make your money somewhere, girl. Don't you worry. We just take half the liver. We still live.
God.
I don't know why my brain's like, it's fine.
No, it's
the police are like stars. We're gonna be monitoring.
I guess part of it is that everything in these books is just so fucked up that it's like you have a baseline of like, well, that's at least they're trying.
Right? That's what I was thinking. I was like, well, they're only taking half the liver, only one kidney. You're already gonna die anyway, so we'll just take both. It's fine.
Yeah, and Zayd kind of enlists them to help with what they're doing and everything, and keep
doing it for car accidents and shit, like people that were just dying already anyways.
Yes,
that's where they were getting away with the whole but they looked like bad guys.
Well, and some of the society people would bring things in, so there's overlap between the two things, right? So Zayd's like, okay, if you have these types of people coming in, I need information, and he's building up kind of the case of figuring out where she is. And that, I believe, is in Portland, is where that office is. So he knows she might be somewhere in Oregon. So they are from Seattle, and they end up in Oregon. And Addie has no idea where she is. She's in somewhere in the middle of the woods, right? Yeah. So the culling happens back to Adeline, and there's this one guy who has decided that he's going to purchase Adeline. And then he gets to have access to her because he is going to be the one to purchase the diamond, because they're like, well, there's too much going on. We know that Z is trying to track down Adeline because it's been very obvious.
Yeah, but he's paying for her on a regular. Right?
Yes, this guy's showing up paying for her on the regular. But
and doesn't he cut her? Isn't that his thing?
Yes,
doesn't he
while
cut her?
while he's having sex with her, he's cutting her and leaving a bunch of scars on her body and stuff. He ends up making her orgasm, which she's like, this is worse, is that my body is like trying to have this pleasurable experience while he's raping me. And I hate it. That was more horrifying, honestly, than some of the other stuff that happened.
I know, but it's not, we both know biologically that that's not anything to happen. Like, it's
but I just mean being in that situation and having your body betray you like that is so awful. Like, because your mind
way
is like,
more than people believe. That's the problem.
Well, I know and so she that happens before this. I can't remember exactly when in the timeline it happens. Sydney starts acting up because she's pissed that she's gonna have to get sold now, and Francesca is angry about it. She keeps framing Adeline as the issue,
which I don't understand how she doesn't see this.
She does see it, but she's like,
but she still takes it out on Adeline
because she's like, stop provoking her, basically.
Oh my god, I forgot. I didn't forget, but I just could not revisit the story.
So
I'm like, I remember it very gruesomely. I remember this scene to the degree
I know
my brain's like,
you know exactly which scene I'm about to talk about. So there was an issue where Sydney went and destroyed a bunch of Francesca's shoes, and Francesca is known for wearing like designer pumps. Yes. Is like her thing,
and she will not wear anything but heels. Like,
yes.
This is
and
like
the girls have like a Pavlovian reaction to this, where they hear the heels and they're terrified immediately because something bad always follows Francesca showing up. And so she shows up with Rocco and has her broken heel, and she gives it to, I think she gives it to Rocco. Rocco does it?
No, she doesn't.
Oh, she does it. She rapes her with the heel of the shoe, and then Rocco also rapes her on top of it, because Rocco's also there.
But she does it. She shoves the shoe in her ass.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why that bothered me, but it just did.
Because it's awful.
But it's like, the problem with that is that you're just ripping parts of the, like, you're not going to be able to sit nor poop, no nothing. Like, my brain is like, I don't care. Like, that. I would rather be vaginally raped if that was going to happen.
Well,
like,
and that
sodomy just is painful because the body exits, like, I don't know. My brain's. Every time I read that part, I'm like, ugh.
And this is something, too, that this will come back and we'll talk about, like, the epilogue.
Yeah.
That why
yes,
part of
no,
why
I
the epilogue bothers me as well.
So much. That's why I was like, girl, I can't re-listen to this.
Is because of this scene specifically that there's so much. I get the. Anyways, we'll get to the epilogue eventually. That happens. Rocco is her number one kind of rapist outside of the guy who's paying to come rape her and cut her at the same time. Rio ends up being a person who protects her a bit. We find out that Rio has been working with Francesca, but only because they have his sister.
Which really pissed me off. But the author did a great fucking job portraying real life, because I'm telling you, the whole time I was reading this, I was like, this could really happen. Mm-hmm. This could really happen. Like, this is fucking horrible. Like, oh my God, like, we're living in a society that, like, secretly deep down inside, this is like the scum of the earth, but this could really happen.
Exactly. And the thing is that with Rio, he is doing. She's like, how your sister's in a position where this could happen to her, and you let your blah, 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 and yet you're letting this happen to other women. And he's like, I don't have a choice. My choices were I have to show up and maybe try to do what I can to lessen the blow on these girls by, like, with Adeline specifically, he finds has a soft spot for her, and he helps help bandage her wounds. He kind of like pulls her out of situations where she could be raped even further than what has already happened, and gives her kind of a safe place, and he calls her Princessa. And I
mean, he's trying, but there's, he could be killed and his sister could be sold off.
Right. It's a rock and a hard place for him. Not to say that the things that Rio does is okay, because he did help extract her from the car and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time,
he doesn't know you. I'm sorry. His sister's in this situation. Yeah. I'm sorry. I would be probably the same way he is.
He's doing what he can. So she, and this is all during the time that she's in this house is when she finds Molly's journal. Molly was a girl who lived at the house, and she was writing about how she found a way to escape and all this kind of stuff. And Adeline hits a point where she's like, I have to leave. I know that Molly got out. I know I can get out of here. I just have to go. And she knew from the culling that when they were out there was a railroad track. So her goal was to get out in the woods and find a way to that railroad track and follow it. That was all she knew she was going to do. And I want to say again, Zaid does a ton of stuff in the background that honestly we're just probably not going to talk about, because there's so many building blocks of how he gets
both
here.
of these stories could take hours to discuss.
They end up narrowing down. She's in he ends up taking down, I actually do want to note this, he ends up taking down one of the auctions. He purchases all the girls, sets everything ablaze, gets in the limo, and he meets two of the girls who were with them. So he's in Jacksonville, Oregon at this time. He's in Southern Oregon. He purchases the girls, and they're like, we were with Addie. And he was like, oh my God. So he gets the information. They're like, we don't know where she is, but it was about a 30-minute drive from where we are now.
Yeah.
So they start looking at places all around. It turns out that Adeline has been in Merlin the whole time. So in this house in Merlin by the woods and whatever else. That Zaid, they narrow in on where Addie has been. And then we cut to Addie, who is trying to escape. She tells Rio that she needs to leave, and Rio actually says that he'll help her. He's like, I will take down the guards out front. The other guys are so drugged out, they're passed out, and you can get out. Listening to the audiobook, I know Adeline gets out. I know she does.
I love this part.
I was so mad at her. So Adeline is like, okay, I'm going to escape. Goes to the kitchen, pulls out crinkly grocery bag.
I didn't understand why she thought the need to take any of this.
I don't know. Well, she's like, I don't know how long I'm going to be out in the woods, so I need to have the strength to get out of here. But
Merlin, Oregon has plenty of water streams. Go fucking drink some sturdy water. Like,
I don't know. So she gets the bag. She goes and puts like granola bars in it and a few bottles of water. And she's walking out and she's trying to escape. And then boom, first bottle of water falls out of the grocery bag that breaks.
Which I loved when Katie did this, because we're at work and Daniel's just like, why do I have to listen to this again? But it was so funny because Katie's like,
I was legit like panicking. I was stressed out.
Even though you've read the story, this is what I love. You can just see Katie's like, no, you stupid bitch, put the bag down.
I paused it and I was like, Star, just get rid of the fucking water bottles. She doesn't need the water bottles. She's like, I watched it roll down the thing. Yeah. And then I walked over and picked it up. I'm like, bitch, leave the water bottle.
He's like snoring in front of her. He's like, yeah. And she's just like, I can get away with it.
Oh my God. So
everything in me was like, this whole story, I just was like, I wanted to hit her in the back of the head, okay? Like,
I'm getting stressed out thinking about it again.
Because he's like, he might have been drugged out, but he wasn't drugged out enough. Like, doesn't he like start to wake? Like, you're just kind of like, look, you stupid broad.
His snoring kind of gets interrupted, and then she pauses, and it's just rolling, and she's like, he starts snoring again. Now she's like, okay, it's safe. Walks over to the water bottle, picks it up, puts it back in the bag.
I didn't get
she
the
starts
white.
turning
she just
around,
kept going.
and then the fucking water bottles fall again. And I was like, bitch, get out of the house. Get out of the fucking house.
I think maybe it was supposed to make us stressed out. We're supposed to be so
my
stressed.
My heart is racing right now.
I am
so it stresses
I love how
me
like
out.
the parts of the story are like not even the most gruesome. We're just like, the bitch kept trying to pick the water up. I don't know. Everything in me was like, I would have just fucking gone and just prayed that water would be available. Like,
oh my God.
I would not have thought about it. I have to be honest. I leave my house every day without thinking I'm going to get water at the next location. I just leave with the hopes it'll happen.
No, and she grabbed a kitchen knife while she was in there.
Okay, this I understand, but you don't have to make a lot of noise with a kitchen knife.
No, the grocery bag, the plastic grocery bag that's broken. And the water bottles keep falling out. Leave the fucking water bottles. Good God, lady. Get out of the fucking house.
She's like, just fucking go.
I was literally.
It's like opening the back door.
I was like, Star, I'm actually freaking out right now. And I know how this book
I know how it ends. I couldn't do it again, man.
Oh my God.
I couldn't believe that you got through it. I was so proud of you.
And so, anyways, she gets out the front. Actually, no, she doesn't, because the guy fucking wakes up.
Yeah, I know. Which is why I said she should have left them.
So she gets in a scuffle with him, slices his neck, runs out. Rio took care of the guards out front. They're dead. And so then she runs into the woods. And then she ends up making it to the train, and she goes and hides in one of the abandoned train cars. Then it's morning now, and Zayd, and she's like freaking out, obviously. She hears a bunch of voices, and she knows, oh shit, I'm caught. And then there's a little boop noise. I don't bing. I don't know how to make the noise.
She's like, my silencer gun.
Pew.
I hope you don't edit that.
So we find out later that what had happened was the guys were coming. Zayd interrupted them, stepped to the side per Daya, stepped to the side and right through both of their heads, side to side. But Zayd drops down and he's like, oh my God, Addie. So then she runs into his arms and she cries and everything, and he's like kissing all over her. And then he takes her back to safety.
Everything in me is like, this would be the breaking moment on whether you're going to make it or not. Because somebody has to, like, not only does he have to see everything that's happened to you, but like now everything in him is like, I killed them, but that's not enough. Like your brain's just.
Zayd is not done.
No.
That's for sure. So Zayd takes her back to Parsons Manor because that's where she wants to go.
Well, hell yeah, I want to go home. I want to be where I feel safe.
And
not saying that it is safe, but just where I feel safe.
He brings in a trusted doctor to take care of her and stuff. He's really giving her space. She really doesn't want to be touched. She's journaling in Molly's journal, and that's kind of where she's finding solace and everything. They do have a therapist that's like a part of his organization that comes and talks to her as well, and she's just trying to kind of heal from everything. One of the really sad parts of this was that at one point, Addie asks if Zayd will take her to the clinic to get tested. And she does come back positive for chlamydia. And then she's like, she feels gross. Like she feels like she's been defiled and disgusting.
I feel like the clap is like the least of your worries. A little antibiotics that clears it up. I would be more stressed like pregnancy. I'd be stressed AIDS. Yeah. Not to say that AIDS isn't like what it used to be back in the 90s. But I'm just saying there's a lot like the claps.
Well, the part of the sex trafficking was ensuring they had birth control. She already had an IUD, which I know it's not 100%.
Saying that like these are things that would still freak me the fuck out. No. Like I'd be less concerned about the clap. Like what, 8 days of fucking some meds? Like get over yourself.
Well, if you've been, I think when you feel
you've already been violated, honey.
You've been violated, but when you've been violated that much, and then you just have evidence of yes, I've been infected with something from them.
I'm just trying to figure out how. As a guy, you don't know you have the clap. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
well, I think
white shit's coming out of you.
I think men can be asymptomatic with chlamydia.
That's true.
So, so she ends up, and they were all supposed to be getting tested and wearing protection was the rule that Francesca implemented, but it wasn't enforced. And so when
cutting her, it's not enforced.
No.
Like,
and when
I think that one bothers me the most. The cutting bothers me more than the clap. Like, I think the scars on my body would be way worse than that. Chlamydia is going to clear right up. The prescription is going to go whoosh.
I think, like I said, I think part of it, the main part is that she already feels like she's been so defiled, and she's like, why would Zayd even want me anymore? Because I'm
That's
so
what I'm
disgusting.
saying, though. Like, this is the test of time right here, because no, you're fucked up. It's all messed up.
Yeah, so she's really having a hard time with it, and then she gets diagnosed with chlamydia, and it's just like another blow that she's like, okay, now I have this thing that somebody gave to me that I and she used to love sex. She used to feel really happy with her body, and now she feels unsafe in her own body. She can't have anyone touch her.
Yeah, because her body like went against her in so many different ways. Like, right? Even just orgasming with somebody you don't want to is a horrible. The mental capacity for that. I can't. Yeah. This whole book just fucking destroyed me.
Yeah, this book was really hard. But
rape doesn't usually destroy me. This book destroyed me. Yeah. I was like, I definitely rated it high, but that was because it destroyed me in a good way.
It was
a really good fucking book. Read it. I'm just saying. Just realize you probably can't read it once you've read it. Like, it's a one-time read.
I have to say too, like I've said, there's only been like one or two books that have actually like really triggered me in terms of some things, and it has everything to do with my ex that assaulted me. And the things that happened to me were not nearly as extensive or horrifying as what happened to Addie, although I would argue that no form of sexual assault is okay or above or below any of them. They all fuck us up in bad ways. But this book was one that I was like, oh my God, this is like bringing me back to a time when my choice was taken from me.
Yeah, I can't.
So and part of why I actually liked this book was that I could relate to Adeline in those moments, though, too.
I think a lot of women can, so I think that's why it's good. But like I said, it's a one read. Like, you read it once, you're good.
Yeah,
you got enough to like last you a lifetime.
Yeah, Star and I even argued on if we wanted to cover this book for the podcast.
That's why we were covering it as two, because it was easier to.
Yeah, because you read it and you were like, I really like this. I think we could talk about a lot of stuff in this. And I was like,
so we did the reread, and then I was like, I think we're out.
It had been a year since I'd read the books, and I was like, listen, I finished these books and I was like, I don't want to read this ever again. This was really hard for me to get through, but I'm actually glad that we did, because it does have a lot of things that I think some women can relate to that happen in it. And then also it was really well written. Like, H.D. Carlton did a fantastic job with this book, as hard of a read as it is. But again, I think what I want to give props to is who Zayd is in this book, because he never ever pushes Addie to do more than what she wants to do after he helps her escape.
Yeah, no.
And he's really gentle with her. He's mindful of not being overpowering or making her feel unsafe in his presence. And he recognizes that he's probably not the person that she's going to want to rely on, because she has been so abused by men at this point. Yeah. Granted, plenty of women in that situation also were hurting her as well. So, but he ends up taking her to his like farm he has set up, which is for where all of the people that have escaped that don't want to go home or don't have a place to go, that he's set up to be a safe place where they can find basically therapy in it. He has like horse therapy, he's got gardening, he's got like all these types of things that gives them a place and to do good and have a purpose.
I think this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, and be safe. And he has all of the facilities to help them heal from all the trauma that they have. One of the things that happened in Haunting Adeline was when he rescued that little girl. She had asked if he was going to be her new dad now. And in his mind, he's like, I have to ask Adeline, because that would be her mom. When they end up on the farm, that little girl runs up to Zayd and is so happy to see him. And she's like, I could see him being a dad. He would be an incredible dad. So I don't know that it's off the table for them to adopt that little girl.
Off the table. They can adopt her, but having children would be weird, only because
I don't know that Zayd could handle Addie being pregnant and being in like that state. I don't know how he would handle her being in a more vulnerable state like pregnancy. I almost want to see her further books now. I'm not curious.
But didn't he find Rio's sister?
Yes. So that was one of the things that Addie was like, Rio, tell me where your sister is, and I will make sure that Z can get her out. And so he does. He helps her, because the only thing he knew was that she was by a sunflower field. And so Zayd ends up finding her, and they help her escape and everything. Rio is out doing wherever he had run away, because obviously he did things that
he killed people.
Ring. And Zayd is still like, I want to kill that guy. And she's like, I don't know how I feel about this because he was someone who was comforting to me and helped me while we were there.
He also was doing what he was trying to do for his sister, which, come on, Zayd, like, you should know, like, you're literally looking for Addie doing the same thing.
Exactly. And so I think Addie's like, I don't want you to kill him. And eventually Zayd does say, like, okay, I won't kill him. Because he said, like, I think he asked Addie, and she's like, my definitive answer is I don't want him killed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he does help her escape, and so gives her a place on the farm and everything, and she's doing really well. But she's like, my brother's a bad person and stuff, and she's like, I think it's more complicated than that, you know? Yeah. And he was doing everything he could to try to help you. So while he did do bad things, it doesn't necessarily make him a bad person on its own. So that's a more complicated relationship. I like that all of these relationships are super complex too. Like there's not like a ton of this like, oh, we're just a happy-go-lucky blah blah blah.
Yes, because you know how much I fucking hate that.
I know
so
you
tired of that like lovey-dovey.
And so Zayd really gives her the space to kind of come back into herself to deal with her trauma and everything. And on the back burner, he is still on the hunt for killing everybody and making sure everyone who hurt Adeline is going to be taken down. Eventually, Addie does feel safe and comfortable enough to be with him. But one of the first times they end up being together again, he takes off his belt and belts her neck to a tree. Like, do you remember this?
I do remember this. I was hoping we were going to just go to the end and be done with this story. I told you there's too many things in this story that I'm just like, oh my God, it was good the first time. Like,
again, it was one of the that happens, and then there's the other time where she is standing by the edge of the cliff that like overlooks the water. He lays her down and hangs her off the edge while he fucks her, and then like has her come back up again as kind of like a I don't know. She looked like she was going to jump, so we just fucked her instead while hanging her off the edge and giving her the adrenaline rush that she likes to have.
I don't know, dude. I just couldn't. Like, okay, look, I'm not going to lie. Okay, it does sound kind of sexy. It would have been way sexier to take her from behind him and choking her while she is looking over the edge. See, I can come up with a lot of deep, dark fucking secret. Like, secretly, I'm just as fucked up as this author is. The problem is reading it sticks. Yeah. Like it was like fucking glue. Like for now ever, I will never not picture that. Like there's sex scenes in here that I'm like, and then you can't talk about it because you're like, I don't know, did you read this book? Like, should we discuss
They're
it?
so ingrained in you.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, they're back together and everything. Addie says, I want to be a part of taking everything down. And he trains her, gets her set up so she knows how to use a weapon. She can get out of things. She ends up tracking down Francesca and Rocco, who are staying in this like janky hotel. And she pops in and she's like terrified, but they open the door. She takes them out and everything. And
you know what would have made this story even
syringe
better
or whatever, so that they
is that Rocco and Francesca were banging in the bed together.
Yeah, like
and then they just like
not Cersei, but is it Cersei? And in Game of Thrones.
Oh yes, that's her name. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're twins.
I know it
makes it grosser.
But yes, so they drug them and get information out of them. But
why else would she do it if she wasn't banging her brother? I don't know. Like I don't like my brother enough to be like, let's go rape people together.
Watch you rape
right?
Other people.
I just can't like.
I think Francesca said that she couldn't control Rocco as much as she thought she could, but also she was actively working she was making extra money on the side, which pissed off the whole circle that was going on with the society, because that's not what she was supposed to be doing. She was supposed to be prepping the girls and sending them out, not having them raped before they went out. So they end up there. It was really healing for her to be a part of that and like helping take them down. And then they go and they meet with Claire. They find out is the ringleader of everything.
Yeah, which sick bitch.
Also, this was the one there's a lot of hard to believe things that happen in this book. But one of the things that I couldn't believe was that she wanted to work with Zayd to like basically form a government where like nobody had choices. And I was like, what is happening? She was like, we could create this perfect government with all of this stuff and you could help me. And I'm like, when does this make sense? Like, she's like, she wants to just like run this like fascist regime, I guess. It just doesn't.
I feel like it could be sensible if you get the right people.
But she
though.
wanted to work with him to like make technology to put in people's brains so that they had to like follow everything. I was like, wait, okay, we're like way off to the side now. Like I feel like we were like in a like this all kind of made sense.
Like
and
I
then
said,
she's
the
like,
only thing
I have all these
can't
dreams.
stand about this author is that there's extra shit that you're like, why?
I
Why?
was just looking at it and I was like, this doesn't make any sense to me. And then they end up killing Claire. Everything gets taken down, blah, blah, blah. Run off to their happy ending. We get the epilogue. The epilogue is Addie is still kind of, I mean, she's better with sexual intimacy, but she's still having a hard time. She is having a nightmare.
I know, this just really fucking bothers me, Katie. This is like literally, remember when I said it sticks? This one sticks in a way that makes me want to hurt him.
Yes. So, again, hunting Adeline starts off and I'm like, Zayd makes so much more sense when he helps her escape. He's really great with her. The second she's like, I'm kind of over my trauma, he's like, down, non-con. Like, it's like, whoa, buddy. Okay, I know this was your thing and you're trying to get her to come back to it. We also did find out that he, sorry, this is a total side note before we get into the epilogue that I hate. We find out that Zayd doesn't like mint ice cream. He says it tastes like toothpaste. That's just a side note of like a fun little cute thing about Zayd when they were like having their fun little cute moments and acting like a normal couple. Anyways, back to the epilogue. So the epilogue is she's waking up from a nightmare and instead of soothing her, he wakes her up by stuffing it in her ass.
This really fucking bothered me. I don't give a shit how much, like, he did use lube though, so let's just be clear.
He did lube her.
It didn't just happen. But here's my other thing. She knows it's coming, so it's not like, but I did feel like it was very rapey. This one I felt rapey. Okay, the gun I was like, yeah, daddy. This one I was like, no, papa, please. I don't know, like my brain was like, I'm good, I'm out. Like,
I get it's their relationship.
No.
It's what they're into.
No, but
whatever,
okay, so we did forget to mention that in haunting, he does say he's gonna ass fuck her or something. He
said, I'm gonna fuck this tight little ass or whatever.
Yeah, he references it. So at the very end, it's kind of like, I get it, but it didn't need to happen.
It's foreshadowing, but again, I think listen, these types of like non-con sex scenes can be really aggressive, but there's just something way more aggressive when it's anal.
And it's a nightmare situation. Like you're literally dreaming about somebody raping you, and then you're waking up to your future whatever on top of you.
Yeah. And he's like, it's just me, Addie. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, I'm going to fuck this tight little ass. And you're like, what?
I don't know why it bothered me. It really did. And everything in my body like clenched up real hard on this one.
Then he picks up a rose from the bedside table after they finish. And it's got a ring attached to it. And that's how he proposes to her.
I was so mad, Katie. I literally threw the book down. I was like, no.
And that's the end.
No.
That's the end of the fucking book. It's just like, here, I like non-conned your ass. And now here I'm proposing to you. Like, what the fuck is this book?
I don't know. That like literally made me that was my breaking point. I was like, you can rape me with the stiletto shoe and I'm less worried that you rape me at the end of the book and I'm like, I'm out, I'm done.
It's worse because he cares about her. Like, he loves her.
And maybe
and
that's why
what
it was
he chooses
worse.
to do.
I don't know. I just didn't like it. I feel like anal is very much a discussion that needs to happen.
It's like a build up, like we're going to do this conversation.
Yeah, this one bothered me. I don't know why. Out of all of the shit that happens, her being cut, raped, I was just like, ooh, this is such a crazy story. The end, and I was like, how fucking dare you? How fucking dare you?
Well, it's like I said, I feel like even the more aggressive scenes we get of him in Hunting, where he's holding her over the ledge of the cliff, or he's got her choking on a tree, like even those still feel like she is in that moment a part of it, making that decision to do it.
I agree.
Even though it's still kind of non-con, but it makes sense in their relationship, and he's still being gentle and he's slowing down to allow her to say stop, because if she did say stop, he would stop in those moments. But this one, you're just like, dude, like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, I don't know. This one bothered me. I like literally was like, what the fuck? Yeah, no.
Okay.
I think that probably made me rate it a 4.
I rated it. I actually rated Hunting 4 stars, and I would rate it 4 stars on the audiobook. I did enjoy the book more as an audiobook the second time around. Again, I feel like the whole thing with Molly's journal, I felt like it was less intrusive than Gigi's story. I think Molly's journal gave her hope that there was a possibility.
I agree. I think Molly's journal needed to be in this one. Gigi's
Oh my God.
like, what the fuck?
We totally forgot a whole section of this.
I know we did, but we're like, I
Okay.
figured we're at like an
I just
hour.
want to point out really quick because Sydney was such a massive part of this. Actually, two things really big that I need to talk about in this book. The first one was Sydney. So Sydney caught her with the journal,
Yes.
and she ends up in a scuffle with her before she's going to leave, and she kills Sydney. That's
Yes.
how Rio ends up saying that he's going to help her out because he can see Sydney's dead. She killed her with a pen, and so that all happens. The second thing is I want to shout out Sibby one more time because Sibby
That's
ends
who I
up.
thought you were going to shout out. Nobody gives a shit about Sydney.
I just wanted to say
Fuck
that
Sydney.
Sydney did get
She
killed.
needed to die.
But
Just
the
like
other-
everybody else needed to die.
Sibby ends up getting broken out of prison, and she moves in with Zayd and Addie in Parsons Manor. And
Yeah,
they
but
kind
she's
of
like just the right amount of creepy because doesn't she take off and go in the sewers?
so here. This is what. So they end up. She moves in with them, and there's multiple times where she's like standing in the living room, and she's like. Oh, she just starts touching herself, and they're like, Sibby, no, you are not having an orgy with your henchman right now. Like, they're just always constant. And she's like, stop touching me. That's inappropriate. And like, Addie is watching on the TV because there's multiple times where Z comes on the screen, and he's like, I'm going to, fight you, and I'm taking you down, blah, blah, blah. Where he like takes over the local news or whatever. And she like goes to sit on the couch. She's like, stop, you're going to sit on him. And she's like, oh. Okay, and she's like looking around the room like, where the fuck am I gonna sit that's not on one of the invisible people in the room? And then she went, oh my God. And she's like, what? She's like, he just touched your ass. She's like, don't touch her ass. And he's like, Sibby is a bright point in these books.
Yes, I love Sibby, which I knew we forgot about her, but at a certain point, I was just like, all
I know,
right.
I was kind of done talking about this book, but I wanted to point out Sibby because Sibby actually, I laughed when Sibby was on the page because she actually brought a lot of levity to this book. She was crazy, and she had her little henchmen and stuff, she actually was from a cult, like that broke up and everything, and she had one dad that Sibby was the one who killed the father.
Yes,
that had
but
fathered
everybody
all these kids.
has only one dad in cults.
Yes.
There's only allowed to be one man.
Yes. So that was, she killed the father, and that was like the whole thing that brought down that cult. She ends up running into this guy. I don't remember which guy it was, but he shows up and it's her brother, and they end up running away. And they haven't heard from Sibby since, but they're assuming she's fine.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So I just wanted to point out those things because they're actually like really important parts of this book that beyond dealing, I think we get so caught up in Addie and the trauma that she deals with and kind of her relationship with Zayd that I wanted to point out.
Yeah,
there were
it's
other
too
things
hard.
that happened in this
Yes.
that actually did bring a lot of levity to this book,
Yes.
which was Sibby, quite honestly, for most of it. And the little light moments when Zayd was being kind to her and acting like a normal human being. Anyways, I rated Hunting a 4-star on the first read. I liked it better with the audiobook. But I'm not reading these books again.
No, me either. I couldn't get through the second one. I turned it on and was like, I'm turning it off. Like,
It's the perfect set to talk about in Dark Romance Month because this is like a true dark romance and a lot of people really love these books.
I
And
didn't hate it. I appreciated the story. It's just not a book I wanted to read twice.
Yes, I
It's
would
definitely
agree
a
with that.
book you read one time and it was good. You tell your friends about it and that's it. You can discuss it, but you don't want to read it.
It's one of
again.
those books that really breaks you and kind of and tears you down. And
Yes.
you're like, man, that sucked, but it was
Yes.
good. Like, so but yeah, that is our coverage of the Cat and Mouse Duet. If you want to stick around with us for the rest of April, we will be covering more dark romances throughout this month. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to throw up a slide where you can follow us on social media, and we will see you in the next one.